Jai. Jai.
Glorious to thee, Son of the Lord Jesus. Glorious to thee, Son of the Lord Jesus. Glorious to thee, Son of the Lord Jesus. Glorious to Shri Guru. Mukamkarati Vakshavam Bandam Mangatazim Yadam Mandali Sikrati Sandham Avagamam Ramkasya Viranjala Shalakaya Chakshamitam Yena Tasai Shri Guru. I'd like to welcome you to the second day of our seminar and the last day of our seminar. We'll be doing the last 5 chapters of second canto today. And so here it's about universal form again. You can see here the universal form. And the first section is the opulences of Vishwarupa. You see the sun is his eye. And the mouth is fire, and the nose, we have all the fragrances of the earth, etc. And this chapter is called Purushashukta Confirmed. So Vishwarupa, the universal form, is actually an expansion of the Super Soul, the witness. It's the Vishwarupa is also the witness, and for them, those who are not devotees, then he gives their karma. He gives the reactions to their karma after witnessing what they've been doing. And so here, the opponent says, here, we must, of course, develop the service attitude. That's the most important thing. And be satisfied with the blessings of the Lord. So this universal form also gives freedom from fear. Now the next section here, Vishwarupa covers all. There's this one here, Vishwarupa. Oops, wait. This one, Vishnu covers all. You can see animals and birds and fish and everything is there in universal form. I'll read verse 7. Freedom from fear, His lotus feet give, and supply all our needs so that we may live. His footsteps give shelter to both low and high, planets that travel the material sky. So here, all the fearful people are running away by the influence of His lotus feet, and we can have good shelter there at His lotus feet. And also, another point is that here we see the back of the Lord. That's for the impersonalists. We talked about that the other day. Also, for the personalist, the front of the Lord is there. So here there is fear, there is suffering, there's so many things. But in the Vaikuntha planets, there is only happiness. And let's see, where is that? That may be in verse 19, if I can find it. Verse 19. Yeah. Okay, anyway, here we can see Vaikuntha, they're enjoying. Yes. They're enjoying. Yeah. Verse 19 and 20. It's over there. So yes, so in Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world, there is happiness, but here there is suffering. And that's, here we go, there's Krishna, he's happy up there. Over here we have the young dutas, three monks of nature, but if you become a devotee, then you can go beyond that and get happiness. So in part 2, sacrifice for Vishnu, but Lord Brahma, all he had was the parts of the body of the universal form. So he had to sacrifice those. Now, in person status, why should we worship the Lord? Because everything is Him. It's everything. We heard that. We learned that yesterday. That although everything is the Lord, everything is God. Like the dog, the tree, the plants. They're all the Lord is there, but the dog is not God. The trees are not God. And so that's what we say. The pantheist said, no, God is. That's God, this is God. I'm also God, we're all God. But we say, no, Krishna is God, and these are parts of His body. And we worship Him out of a sense of gratitude. We're grateful, and so we do these. For our sacrifice, of course, our sacrifices are none in this age. So people want peace of mind, and the way to do it is by practicing this sacrifice to please the Lord. Now, here, this is called catch the Lord's lotus feet. Here, Brahma, with his forehead, he is capturing the lotus feet of the Lord. And what is the result when you do that? You get your words will always be true, and your mind, the plans for spiritual life will always come true, and your senses will not be degraded. So that is, we will be protected by Krishna if we capture his lotus feet. And these are all pictures of him capturing Krishna's lotus feet. And the last part, well, before we get there, I want to read verse 35, that's part 2. Here. Although I have wisdom and am very austere, endowed with mystic powers, worshipped by all great seers, I cannot understand my origin and source, which is He, the Lord of all power and force. So Brahma, no one can know Krishna in full, but if you surrender and you have devotional attitude, then you can know something about the Lord. And if you're coming to the program tomorrow, we'll talk how to understand Krishna. We'll talk about that tomorrow evening at 5:30. Yeah, what is that?
Sorry.
Some program tomorrow. Nama.
Yeah,
Vilas Bihari. Okay. Vilas Bihari. Right.
And Krishna.
Pardon me?
Vilas Bihari Prabhu and Krishna Mataji.
Okay. Okay. So this last section here, we see how shining he is. Because every being is part of his energy. We see all the elephant and the people, they're all part of him. And that's this universal form. Everything in this universe is just his energy. And so this is Krishna. And if we hear about this, then we can have peace of heart. So chapter 7, we have incarnations of Krishna. This is part 1, Part 1. So you can see 4 Kumaras, that's Varaha and Griva, and then Narayani Rishi, there's the fish, there's the tortoise, there's Gajendra and Krishna Bhagavatam, there's the swan. These are all incarnations of Krishna here. Leela avatars. And then over here we have Lord Ram in the forest including Ravana. And then here we have, after that, we have Krishna. All these verses here, he's lifting over on a hill. Here he's breaking down the Yamalarjuna trees, dancing on Kaliya. And the fire. Let's see, I'm going to read verse 29. Chapter 7. Where did it go? Chapter 7, verse 29. Have you found it? It must be in part 2. Yes. Just after Kaliya was chastised, the Vrajavasis were by fire surprised. The forest blazed, but they took rest. But Krishna drank the fire and finished their distress. So that's over here. He's drinking the fire. Everyone's closing their eyes. And there was recently a fire at Charnagati, our farm in Canada. And all the devotees were safe, and the cows, the animals were safe. And three families lost their house. Most of the houses were okay, and I think 4 cabins, so single people. So now they're rebuilding what Krishna protected. The school, the temple, the Goshala were untouched, and the Rath car in festivals like they were all untouched by the fire. And most of the families were untouched. Only 3 lost their house. So Krishna, he saved them. So here we are, our Lord Krishna, his pastimes. Then comes the Kali Yuga of Chars. And we've got Vyasadeva, and we've got Buddha, and we've got Kalki riding on his horse in Kali Yuga. And Buddha teaches Upadharma, or nonviolent, sub-religious principles. Because real religion means to develop love of God. And he didn't go directly, he didn't teach directly, he taught indirectly, because he wanted to stop these animal sacrifices. Even Jesus, he wanted to stop the animal sacrifices too. And now I heard that they want to revive them somewhere in Jerusalem or somewhere. They want to revive these. Oh my God. Anyway, it's Kali Yuga, so that's what you have to expect. Now what's over here? Guna avatars. So we have Rama, Vishnu, Shiva here, and then this is Ananta Shesha. He's got thousands and thousands of heads, and he's been describing the glories of Krishna since the beginning of time, and he didn't come to the end of it yet. Each one of his heads is telling a different story about Krishna, thousands he's got. And still he didn't find the end of Krishna's qualities and Krishna's pastimes. So this is about creation. At the beginning of creation, there's Lord Brahma and austerity. In the middle, there is maintenance and Lord Vishnu and the leaders of the planets. And at the end, there is Lord Shiva somewhere. Oh, yes, must be somewhere there. Yeah, Lord Shiva. Oh, I lost him. No, he's up here. Okay. Yeah, Lord Shiva comes at the end So this is verses 43 to 45. 43 to 45, okay. So at the end of this chapter, chapter 7, Sri Prabhupada says, why should we hear about creation? Everybody wants to hear Krishna's pastimes, and they're not so interested in hearing about creation. But we should hear because this is meant for persons who are in the clutches of external energy. So if you still have some trace of modes of nature, this is for you to hear. Because you have to know where you are and what's happening in this world. And this is good as hearing Rasalila in the liberated stage. The Rasalila and such pastimes are for liberated souls. Now in second canto, it's called Questions by King Parikshit. He wants to hear more about Krishna and about the creation. So here first comes the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then the beginning also of Lord Brahma. He looked down in his lotus flower, he climbed down, and then he heard the words Tapa. Now there's 3 very beautiful verses in these first 6. Verse 4 is right down here. So Krishna, if you hear Bhagavatam, it will come in your heart and stay in your heart. Krishna will come. And then, now, because Krishna is a sound incarnation, so then 5 would be, that's 2.
To the left, down left.
Over here, that's
Yes.
5. Is it? Yeah, I can't see copy.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, we better write it. Chapter 9, no. We're on the wrong chapter up there. No, I missed. We want chapter 8. There we go. Oh, what chapter is that?
That's
Second Canto, chapter 8. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, so there's Bhagavatam up there, shining. And then, yes, if you hear Bhagavatam, all the bad things will go out, the 3 modes will go out from your heart, and you'll have Krishna in your heart. Some incarnation of Krishna enters in the heart of self-realized soul and sits on the lotus of his loving relationship and cleans all the dust, lust, anger. These are lust, anger, and hankering. These 3 are running out from our heart if we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, just like rain in the fall. So then I'm going to read verse 6. Oh, so that happens there. That's verse 4. And now verse 5 is up here. He's holding the lotus feet of Krishna. A traveler coming home from a long sojourn is fully satisfied to his home return. In a similar way, the Lord's pure devotee is ever satisfied his lotus feet to see. So it's like when you come home after a long journey, then you feel you're attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. And just like when you come home after a long journey and you're happy. So our home is at the lotus feet of Krishna. And when we come there, then we can be happy. It's like after a long journey of this life is a really long journey. And so this will happen here. This is verse 6. So what keeps us going is we take the order of the spiritual master as our life. There might be troubles on our path, but we remember our relationship with Krishna and we become pacified. So now all these down here are questions by Parikshit about the creation and different things. What's the difference between body and soul? How do you cross the ocean of material existence? So these are some of his questions. And then here, this is Parikshit's determination. He says, I'm not hungry, I'm not thirsty, because I'm drinking the nectar of Bhagavatam, which you are speaking. So lesson you can learn is by hearing Bhagavatam, you can conquer hunger and thirst. Now this is chapter 9, part 1, answers by citing the Lord's version. So Shukadeva tells Parikshit about how Brahma was inspired to perform austerities. So here you see Brahma doing austerities, he goes up of his lotus flower, doesn't know where this is coming from. He went down and then he heard the words, tapa. And yes, the lesson is you can be freed from illusory energy by surrendering to the Lord. Here's Maya, she's giving us all these different bodies. We come and we say, okay, I want to be a dog, I want to be a lion, oh, I want to be a kid. And so here we are, and she's offering us different bodies, which we can choose from. Because we are thinking, I am this, and this is mine, I am mine. But actually, I am servant of Krishna, and Krishna is mine. And I am Krishna's, I belong to Krishna. And this is the reality. So Brahma was initiated by the Krishna mantra, and then he did austerities. And he climbed down here, he's climbing down the lotus, he heard the word stapa, austerity, and he did it. Now this middle part is Vaikuntha, here's Lakshmi Narayani here. And Vaikuntha, and all the people are worshipping them with awe and reverence. And they have airplanes over there too, really nice airplanes. And you might see an airplane at the time of death if you're fortunate. And keep chanting Hare Krishna. At the time of death, your swan airplane will come for you. And yes. In fact, the airplanes are made of jewels and gold, but the swans are carrying them. And you don't have to worry about gas, petrol, because they fly by the power of the mind power, and in the spiritual world. Yes, so then let's see, now we're going over, these are, the Lord is pleased, that's this last one here. He's pleased, of course, Brahma is surrendering to him to do his service, and he's so happy he's shaking Brahma's hand here also, you can see, he's shaking Brahma's hand. Because he's pleased with his service. So, and if you want to get to that place, then you must hear about Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm going to read verse 19. There we go. The Lord being pleased shook Brahma's hand, for he was worthy to follow his command. The Lord stood before him, satisfied, and to him the power to create, supply. And there he is, he's happy with Brahma, doing all that austerity. And so, we're also doing austerities when we chant and we follow 4 principles. So Krishna will be pleased. He may also shake our hand. And Brahma said that if you preach, you're dear to the Lord, and the Lord will be pleased and shake. The Lord face to face by practicing yoga. So now here, this is the second part of chapter 9, Brahma's questions about the creation of different planets. And the Lord is super, so sanctions our desires here, but he wants us to give up all our separate desires and surrender to him. So yes, we don't become proud because we know that we're an instrument of Krishna. We're just an instrument. Just like Brahma, Krishna, and Shiva are also instruments. So now this part is the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. Chaturshloki. Four seed verses. The first verse he's explaining how he exists. Only he exists everywhere. That's here. That's here. Here he's telling Brahma, okay, I'm going to tell you about, what are the 4 seed verses of Bhagavatam, and all the 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam come from these 4 here. Verse 33, 34, 35, 36 of the 2nd Canto, chapter 9. So the first one is how Krishna is before, during, and after everything, along with his devotees in the spiritual world. And here it talks about Maya. If you see something without relation to Krishna, that's Maya. And then the third verse, he's inside everything. Here we see super soul inside everyone, but he's also separate, enjoying in the spiritual world. And then, so this is love of God, him. And then finally, devotional service. So that's described here. So, yes, verse 33 and 34 give about knowledge, sambandha. And verse 35 is rahasya, the goal. And 36 is abhidheya, our devotional service. So yes, here we see everything has a relation with the Lord. But if we don't see that, then that is Maya. So there's a reflection in this world of sunlight, and that what is the little sun coming in this darkness is the order of the Lord, which you get from the spiritual master. Well, that's light, and here we can see Krishna. All the light's coming from Krishna, but Maya is kind of keeping us in darkness, and what that light's coming through. And the light that we're getting is Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and instructions of the spiritual master. So yes, and Krishna is also detached here from all of these things. Now in 35, he's in all of this thing within his energies, but he's living in the spiritual world. And we also can see Krishna in the spiritual world because we have a TV in our heart. And there is a spiritual channel which we can tune into. But how do we tune in? We have to have love of God. We need to have love in order to get that channel. Now our TV is broken, but we can fix it. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra can fix our TV in the heart. And so that's these seed verses are very important. That's it. This verse, the secret of love of Krishna consciousness is love of God. So if you have love, you can see Krishna everywhere, even in the atoms. So then, now the last verse about devotional service, there's like a 10-page purport on this verse. If you read in second Canto Bhagavatam, 10 pages. And what does Prabhupada say in all those pages? I give you a summary. That devotional service is for everyone. Prabhupada says, even the insects and animals can do devotional service. I saw a bird doing devotional service in Vrindavan. What was this bird doing? He was they have these big doors to the altar, and he was on top of the door, and he was flapping his wings, and all the old flowers were falling down, and he was cleaning, actually, the temple, flapping his wings. Even birds can do it. And then success is guaranteed if you engage any of your senses, and your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue. And whether you're full of desires or have no desires, you should still do devotional service. Even in annihilation, you can do service. Even if there's a baby in the womb. I think yesterday we had your wife, the baby was listening to Bhagavatam second canto yesterday, so he's doing his service. And and even at the time of death, Jamila, he got it. He did devotional service at the time of death. And then, who else? Let's see, old age, yes. There are examples in all stages of life. Pariksha at the time of death also, just before dying, he was doing devotional service of hearing and chanting. And so this is really, really important. So if you know these are the 4 seed verses of Bhagavatam. If you're fixed in this, then no pride can disturb you. Because Brahma, he was going to create the universe. He was worried that he would get proud. I mean, if you can create the universe, of course, you could be proud. It's something to be proud of. So he was worried about that. And so Krishna said, no, don't worry. If you be fixed in these truths, then no pride can disturb you. That you just know, I'm just an instrument, and all the power I'm getting from Krishna. So here we have Bhagavatam again, chapter Sloki expanded. So pure devotees have a good life here. Brahma is teaching Narada even more what he heard from Krishna. And yes, he's praying to Krishna. And of course, the pure devotees, they not only preach regulated life, they practice also themselves. So the lesson we learn is the best preaching is teaching by example. Teach by example. You be the example. Sometimes devotees complain, oh, this one is not following, that one is not doing. And so Prabhupada would say, you be the example. That's all. You be the example of what you want to see. What you want to see. So yes, so we must ask, we must inquire like Pariksha, and we must hear like he also did, and Narayani did. So now we're going to hear in the next chapter 10 about the 10 subjects of Srimad Bhagavatam. And this last 10th chapter is called Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. So if you have a question, you can find it in one of the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. You can find the answer. And you also find the question too, probably. Find the question and the answer. Because so many chapters are full of questions, like chapter 8 we just heard, Pariksha's questions. We didn't hear all of them, but there were lots of them. So the first part here is, let's see, 10 subjects. These are the 10 subjects of Bhagavatam. We'll have a very good picture at the end. And yeah, in this book, which is the same thing that you're seeing up there, there's 2 posters. One of them is the whole chapter, under the whole second canto. And the other one is the 10 subjects. Oh yeah, this is Canto 2. And then we have also another one, which is the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's see here. Yeah. So I'll show this picture at the end. These are the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. So you won't forget. And they go throughout the whole Bhagavatam. They go throughout. So here we go. The first one, this is just showing the 10 topics that are surrounding Krishna. Krishna is the main one, of course. And they're in all of the cantos, not just one canto here and one canto there. So here is the creation is here. You can see Mahavishnu and Garbhakshai Vishnu coming in mirrors. And also Visharva, sub-creation of Brahma too. That's here. One of the topics. Oops, not yet. And then we have this is the right situation, the laws of the Lord, Oshanam, also protection, and Manu. So there's 3 in here actually in this one verse. And this is Ishana Katha, that is the glories of Krishna, glories. And then here is in Nirodha, when destruction is coming, everything's going back in the mouth of Vishnu. Nobody's going back to Godhead. He doesn't come back here. No. And then this one is about mukti or liberation. Liberation. And then the last one is Krishna, Ashraya. That is here. Krishna, he's the center of all of it. And so yes. And then over here we have Vishnu expanding. Here's Vishnu. And Durga, and first he glances at Durga, and then Brahma is born. He enters the universe, and Brahma is born. Then Super Soul comes in everyone's heart. So 3 incarnations of Vishnu here. Mahavishnu, Garbhakshai Vishnu, and Shirakshai Vishnu, the Super Soul in our heart. Yes. So 3 Vishnus. And then the last part is universal form. And here we have the ocean is the stomach. So if you take bath in the ocean. You will help cure your stomach diseases, because then you are connecting with the universal form of the Lord, where the ocean is his stomach and abdomen. And if you take bath in the rivers, then that's the rivers of the veins of the Lord. If you take bath in the river, that will cure your nervous diseases. So here we have the universal form again, and all here's the trees, there are his hairs, and fire is his mouth, and they're all, the demigods are there. False ego is there, with all different senses coming out. And so, but how it happens is the Lord, he doesn't do anything personally, he just desires it, and everything comes out. And vegetables, oh yeah, they are nourishment also for the skin. Read verse 29 of chapter 10. Chapter 10, sorry. Chapter verse 29. Where is it? There we go. The supreme desire to take food and drink, and the intestines with arteries, so were linked, both under the control of the rivers and seas, whose influence prevents metabolic disease. There we go. So he desires to eat, and then we desire to eat. He first has a desire, and then we get it too. That's why we want to eat, and we want to be healthy, because the Lord first desires it. And yes, we have all the elements are here, and this last part is creation, maintenance, and destruction. Now here is Lord Shiva destroying, and then there's Brahma creating somewhere over here, and then Vishnu is maintaining. It's the tortoise, it's Vamana, and it's Mohini Murti. Yes. And so we will now go. Just before we go, I'll tell you about 3 types of creation. There's the Mahakalpa, and that's Mahavishnu. And all the universe is coming out of his body, Mahavishnu. Then there's a Vikalpa, that's Brahma's creation over here. And that is, and then there's the Kalpa, that's one day of Brahma. So every day, Brahma creates. And you'll hear about that in Canto 3, where he wakes up and it's a new day and he forgot everything. After he went to sleep, he forgot how to create. And he has to be enlightened again. And he has to do Mangalarti. He has to pray to the Lord, please give me the intelligence, and then the Lord gives it. So here's the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, and you'll find them in all the cantos, not just one canto, one topic. You'll find them everywhere. Krishna even comes in 1st canto, and he comes in 3rd canto. And he's Uddhava teaching Vijaya in 3rd canto, and then when he comes to save Kunti, save Bhishma, he goes to Astinapur Dwarka. So here we have first the Sarga creation, that's the first topic. 2nd is Visarga, that's Brahma's. 3rd is Sthana, maintenance. And 4th is Poshna, or protection for devotees. Here's the gender being protected. Uti, the 5th topic, is our karma, which makes us work, makes everything go round in this universe. And then 6 is Manvantara, the reigns of the Manus. The 7 is Ishan Kata, science of God, who is being killed by Shinidev. Nirodha, this is annihilation. Everybody's going back. When Mahavishnu breathes in, everybody goes back into his body. Mukti, liberation. And so here we have Gopi. And then Krishna, he's the main topic of all these. And in order to understand Krishna, you have to read all the 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then you will get the understanding. And then, then you can understand how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and how you can accept him. Because when Krishna comes, all the incarnations come in his body. So you find out what all the incarnations can do And then Krishna can do all of that, even though he keeps his little small body as a cover boy. He can expand like Varaha, with small birth, and then he became big. He can kill like Nrsimhadev, but Krishna doesn't do it. It's the Vishnu incarnation within him that does it. So that's why we have to study Bhagavatam, and then we can understand Krishna. So I'll stop here. If you have any questions, comments, you can ask.
Hare Krishna. Could you please elaborate when we said that first Krishna desires and then we desire?
Well, that's what happens at the beginning of creation. That Krishna desired to see, Krishna desired to hear, and then because he had those desires, then all those the ears manifested in universal form, the eyes manifested, and it's only because Krishna first sees with his eyes that we can see. We're depending on his vision. We're depending on his hearing. We're depending on his tasting. Everything, the only way we can taste and hear and see is because he can see and taste. If it is described that in the beginning he glanced at Maya, and that's how creation started, and he's still glancing right now. In 11th Canto it says, if he were to stop glancing, everything would be finished. He's still glancing. So he's still there watching. He's still there glancing at the creation, and that's why it's going on. So we're simply depending on him for our senses to work. And only because the sun, the effulgence from his body becomes the sun's. The sun's effulgence is taken from Krishna's body. And then because of that, then we can see. If you, in nighttime, middle of the night, you can't see if there's no lights or anything. In the spiritual world, there is no illumination, like there's no electricity in the spiritual world. No. Everything is effulgent, self-effulgent. Okay, any other questions? No questions? Okay, yes.
Could you please elaborate the difference between mukti and moksha?
Mukti and moksha. Okay. Well, moksha means actually, generally those two words are used as the same thing, mukti and moksha. There is no difference. But there is another Sanskrit word which makes it different, and that is called vimukti. And that is when it's beyond mukti, where you become a servant of Krishna. And actually, the word moksha, generally we think the goal is that of the impersonalists to merge into the light, which the effulgence coming from Lord's body. But in the 10th chapter of this verse, mukti is described that when you change your form into your eternal form, that is real mukti, real mukti. I'll see if I can find the verse in here that might say mukti. One. Yes, here we go. Liberation is the jiva's form permanent, and his gross and subtle bodies are finished and spent. So, the Sanskrit says that real mukti is when we give up this material form and we get our eternal permanent form. So that's the real definition of mukti. But it's actually being misused by the impersonalists who say, they also say we want mukti, we want moksha, but they have a different goal than we do. We want to be servants of Krishna, that's our mukti. And their mukti is that we want to merge into the light and become one with God. We want to become God, one with God. We want to become one with God in the sense of one with his desire. So we want to serve him. So that's the bhakti definition of mukti, is that we get our eternal form. That's our mukti. And so that's why this is showing real mukti here, someone is getting their eternal form as gopi. That's real mukti. And that's the definition in Bhagavatam. That was verse, let's see, what verse was that? Second Canto, 10th chapter. It is a very famous verse. Part 1. Mukti, verse 6. Mukti hitvan yatarupam surupena yasiti. What? Somebody knows that? You know it?
Yeah.
Say it. Mukti hitvan yatarupam. Yeah, anyway, okay. I'm sure you know it. But I also know it, but it's not coming. Yeah. Yeah, okay, it's right. Yeah, Muktir Hitvanita, we're giving up this form, Anyatarupam. Muktir Hitvanyatarupam, Swarupena. So our real Swarup, Vyasiti, becomes established in our real Swarup, which is our eternal, permanent form in relationship with Krishna. And it's, there is a special name for that, and in Sanskrit also, Vimukti, which is beyond Mukti. But here in this general, according to Bhagavatam, Mukti means you get your eternal form. Yeah. So that's clearly there in the Sanskrit. Okay, any other questions? Okay, John, Glorious Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.